This is the Western Cape of Good Hope. This province represents for South Africa the last hope. Because the Western Cape, the Western Cape works. And if the Western Cape works, that means that we can make the rest of South Africa work. And that's what gives me hope.
We have come to Cape Town, located in the province of the Western Cape, to see this for ourselves. This is the only province in the country that is not governed by the ruling party, the ANC. It lost power in the 2009 general elections and the DA has taken over since. The governing party here has often used this city and this province at large as a campaign tool and case study to show the rest of the other provinces exactly how the DA gets things done. Party leader John Steenhuisen has even gone to the extent of cautioning other political parties seeking to campaign for votes in this province to stay away. The DA believes that political parties seeking to contest power in these elections should do so in the 8 other provinces governed by the ANC, and that they should leave the DA's Western Cape alone.
Let me tell you, unlike the rest of the country, the biggest enemy of progress and opportunity here in the Western Cape is not an ANC government desperately clinging to power like they're doing in the other 8 provinces. The biggest risk to continued progress, to continued opportunity and building a better future for all of us in this province is complacency and mercenary parties like the PA, like Rise Mzansi, like Good, and like the NCC. Because they're not interested in taking on the ANC. Why aren't they campaigning in Limpopo and the Northwest Province? Why are they coming to the Western Cape? Why are they coming here to try and unseat the only government that created 300,000 jobs last year? Why are they coming here to the only government that arrested through its LEAP program over 27,000 criminals in the last year? Why are they coming here to an economy that's working, with schools that work, that give opportunities for more people, with public transport systems that work? Why here? Why not they focusing their attention on the real enemy of progress in South Africa, which is the ANC?
For 15 years, the Democratic Alliance has been at the helm of this province, which many may describe as a popular tourist destination, famous for its beautiful beaches, its scenic views, its majestic mountains, and landmarks. Behind me is a recreational park, a dilapidated one at that, but a recreational park nonetheless, where the children of this area in down to Khayelitsha often come out to play. But less than 100 meters from the play area, we see that there is a dump site, which we have found to be common in the area in between the informal settlement, where there are piles of rubbish dumped there by the residents who've got no other choice but to leave their refuse there. Being in such close proximity to the park, this poses a health hazard to the kids in this area. Keep in mind that this is still the same city, the same province where we earlier saw majestic mountains, scenic beaches, and beautiful views. On the other side of the mountain, there is this reality of the very same Cape Town. Butwam sidibana nawe apha namhlanje ubhizi uklina estratweni umsebenzi esi understand wafamba wenziwa ngumasipala. Cela usixelele kabanzi ba kutheni ulapha namhlanje.
Isizwa mina ndingumhlalo walapha kule ndawo, indlame lapha ngaba kwezi toilet, and umasipala andikwazi uba ndinyamezele ukuba azoklina apha, because ezibubona apha seclean around besifike kugcwele ngoku mabasihlala apha sinabantwana, asikwazi ngoku mane silinde umasipala azoklina because nee-containers zezigcwele inkunkuma nee-toilet asibazi abantu abayiqasheleyo uba baklina xa kunini, so yile nto ubona ndiyenza ngokwami.
Utomla ixesha elingakanani kukho le meko inje? Yimeko eniyiqhelileyo lena okanye yinto entsha?
Siphila kuyo le meko som, into esiyiqhelileyo lena. Simane nje sicela uncedo ngoba sizovulela le drain xa iblokile, then bazosivulela le drain. Then enye yonke enye into elapha siyazenzela, uba sizenzeli iyagcwala apha. Asazi ukuthi ke iyawusawuthi uze siye kuzenzela umasipala enze kanjani.
Umasipala walapha uyathanda ukupapasha athi yena ungoyena masipala oqhuba phambili kweli lizwe lonke. Uthini wena ngaloo nto njengomhlali ozibona ekule meko inje?
Unabo yena abantu abaqashileyo uba bakline apha, asazi ukuba banjezelwa yintoni ke, mhlawumbi ke zizinto zabo zangaphakathi zemisebenzi neecontract nabaqeshi. And then ke ngoku thina abahlali balapha iyasichaphazela kakhulu loo nto leyo uba mhlawumbi ingxaki yabasebenzi nabaqeshi ibangela into yoba abasebenzi bangazoklina. So thina abantu bahlala apha siziklinele because sinabantwana abancinci.
We've just been in conversation with Lwando here in Town 2, Khayelitsha, where he was explaining to us that we find him in the middle of the road here clearing up the rubbish that has been thrown into the streets because he has been left with no choice. The municipality has failed to collect rubbish, which has meant that it piles up in front of these toilets that you see behind me, where his house is actually situated, and he fears that it must pose a health danger for his children who might be found playing in the streets. Hence, he has taken it into his own hands that he sorts out the situation, seeing that the municipality has failed to do so.
Umntana wayehamba wayodlala kanti uye wazodlala apha ekhonteynini, then ngocaba uye wabona iipakethe zeepilisi wathatha wazitya. Sazombona sekukudala ngoye eyoba samthatha samsa e-KTH, walaliswa phaa wazokhutshwa ngengomso, waphinda wanikwa idate waphinde ayojonga. Kathiwa noko wazimenzakalisanga because ukhawuleze sambhaqa uba utye iipilisi.
Umntana onangaphi lo?
Umntana one-4 years.
Ebedlala phandle?
Bedlala ewe apha ngasebheka apha ekhonteynini. So wabona iipilisi yena wathatha wazitya.
Ipilisi ayichole kwindawo ekulahlwa kuyo imigqomo?
Kule ndawo ilahla kuyo inkunkuma.
Bekuhlala kukudoti phaa okanye bekusenzeka ntoni kuze kube kudoti?
Bekungaklinwa kaloku ngelaa xesha, so singoba kungaklinwa inkunkuma ingakaya. So wonke umntu ulahla yonke into yakhe phaa. So umntana yena uyathatha atye.
Njengamzali ozifumene kuloo meko, uthini kumasipala xa iyeka inkunkuma ihlale ngolu hlobo ize izawuba yingozi ebantwaneni?
Ingxaki kaloku abantu bayaqashwa for la container qha bayeke kuba besithi ababhatalwa. Basebenza mahala, so abafumani nto, so yilaa nto ivele ihlale ibinjeya.
Njengamhlali walapha eTown 2, xa esithi umasipala wase-City of Cape Town yena uyasebenza and usebenzela wonke umhlali walapha, uziva njani wena ngaloo nto?
Hayi, akasebenzi, akho nto isetyenzwayo, kumdaka qha kule ndawo.
Usebenzela abatheni ngoba uthi yena uyasebenza?
Hayi, akasebenzi, abantu abanintsi apha abasebenzi. Oko ndafika kule Town 2 ngoba ndinayo into epha kwi-13 nto years, azange ndake ndaqashwa noqashwa. So andiboni ungathi kuyasetyenzwa, bayangenisana qha abantu balapha, bafaka nabodwa.
Izindlu zona?
Nezindlu siyasokola xa kunetha imvula, singenelwa nangamanzi ezindlini, gqabhuka idrain zizongena phakathi ezindlini. So andiboni ncedo lufumanekayo.
We've just been speaking now to Mama Uronika, telling us the heartbreaking tale of her daughter who once was found playing near this contaminated area, a daughter of the age of 4 was found playing in the area, who happened to pick up a pill from the rubbish dump and happened to consume it. The child was later found getting ill, unknown what the diseases the child might have contracted are, but the child was later then rushed to hospital. Mama was just speaking to us, highlighting the dangers of having to exist in a community like this where refuse is not collected by the municipality, posing health hazards to the children of this area. Umama also speaks to us about how she's been a resident of Itauntu for the past 30 years, and herself has been, and as a resident of this area, has been struggling with employment, has not been able to find work or any of the projects that the municipality employs people in. She also speaks of housing there and sanitation in the area, and just how she doesn't feel that the municipality has catered for herself here as a resident of the very same city of Cape Town. Recently, President Cyril Ramaphosa detailed on his campaign trail in the Western Cape how during his door-to-door visits to the voters in the townships and informal settlements, how he physically witnessed sewage and defecation running in the streets due to the underserviced areas of informal settlements and townships.
Is isurage la kuhlala abantu bakuthi khona balungisa le la kuhlala abelungu khona. Iyo ingxaki esinayo enkulu ngoba umasipala walapha uphethwe ngomunye umbutho iDA uyayazi na. Yeah. So bona bajonge bani apho kuhlala khona abelungu kakhulu. Manje ndizibonele nami apha ukufika kwami xa emvulini inethile ndiyabona nje kuhamba yonke indawo bengicinga ukuthi kusendaweni ethize kuphela kodwa yonke indawo kuyanuka amanzi ahamba uyawabona ukuthi akusiwona amanzi emvula agcwele indlela uyabona nje apha kuhamba ikaka nje uyayibona uyakwazi ukuyilandela naye ikaka.
Meanwhile, Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis came out in defense of his city, saying that the president's claims are untrue. Hill-Lewis went as far as defending his city, saying that it is doing much better than elsewhere in the country. Hill-Lewis went as far to claim that in his city, at least no children are dying because of pit latrines. Despite the mayor's denial that we find children who lose their lives over pit latrines, we uncovered that there was a story of an Imtande swart boy who lost his life and drowned in a sewer in Khayelitsha after a manhole was left uncovered due to the sanitation challenges in the area. This happened in 2021. It appears that it was not just water and sanitation woes that brought about the untimely passing of Imtande Swart Boy, but we've uncovered that just in September 2023, this is last year, there were 4 children in the Klipfontein community who were electrocuted in flood water. This took place in the community of Klipfontein, also known as an informal settlement, which resulted in tragedy of the 4 children who were electrocuted based on the presence of illegal electricity connections. We traced down the grandmother of one of the children who lost their lives in this tragedy. She also shares with us some of her other challenges she's experienced as a resident of the area, spanning over 30 years, experiencing her current living conditions, saying that nothing really has changed. We are now in Klipfontein speaking to Oma, who's going to tell us her story of how she has applied for a home and dignity in the city of Cape Town, but has not received any assistance to date. Oma, vertel my your story.
Goeiedag. Ek is Lena Chumat. Ek bly nou hier saam met my husband nou 34 jaar getroud met hom. En my husband is nou al word nou 70 jaar oud hierso. En ons het apply vir 'n huis al na 1976 het ons apply vir 'n huis, een vir krag en ons het nog niks gekry nie. Ons bly nou nog hier sonder toilets en water. En vandag het ons op so 'n groot probleem al gehad dat my twee seuns het al doodgeskok in die Klipfontein saam met stormschools. Hy is my klein kind, hy is al doodgeskok in Klipfontein. En dit is 'n baie seer verhaal vir ons om hier te bly sonder water, sonder toilets, sonder krag. Wat dat is die grootste probleem vir ons is die krag en water en 'n toilet.
We've just spoken to Oma Lena, who has told us the story of her current living conditions, where she takes care of 13 grandchildren with her 71-year-old husband in the house. They've been married for about 34 years, but to date, they have not received the plot or the RDP home that they were promised many, many years ago. Oma retells the story of how they struggle with basic services such as water, electricity, sanitation, and the fear of living in an area where crime is rife.
When the DEA fully got this Western Cape and fully rule over our communities. The challenges started when they started building those RDP houses. Number one, there was a lie. It was said a school will be built here and a garage and a plaything for the children. I was one of the CLOs on this project here at the back. So when we were done with the civils and so on, I asked him, but this is divided for houses. Now where's the school? So they told me, no, these people living on the street and they all need houses. I said, okay, fine. Who's going to live in these houses? They said, it's our backyard dwellers. In the end of the day, there's no backyard dwellers, as people from outside Mitchell's Plain. And the rightful owners of these houses don't even live in their houses. Those people live elsewhere, and the houses has been rented to the drug lords, merchants, and so on. They rent those houses. And there is where our trouble started in this community. At first, our children could play nice in the street. We could walk late night. We can sit outside in summer. Now you can't. You can't even go to the mobile shop around the corner. Your children can't play outside. There's no decent play, like a park facility where the children can go to have like education training and so on. No, there's nothing like that. Our children is playing in the streets. When the gangsters decide to shoot, our children's in the middle.
Me, myself, actually, I was on drugs also. And thank God I recovered with the help of everybody and God specifically. However, my brother got shot about 2-3 years ago, right down there on that corner, which was also a gangster. And then when he retrieved he didn't want to become a gangster anymore. And, jealousy, because so now you can walk anywhere and everywhere. So the people that you basically sit with are the only people planning to kill you because of drugs and guns and things like that. So we don't know really what happened. Somebody ran over and said that some guys just shot him, which we believe is most of his friends that he was not involved with anymore, but because you don't want to leave everything and everything. I'm thinking about myself also. You come across and you say hi and that's it. But as soon as that happens, people tend to target you, like I said. And so that is what happened, which is actually happened right here behind me. And somebody just came, and when we got there, they shot him.
I speak to them. And they tell me if they can get a job, they will leave us immediately. Even the older gangsters, the gunmen, they tell me if we can get a job, we leave this. But for now, we can't. And I don't blame a gangster, as Leader Face said, as a system that failed them. Yes, the system is part of that. The system fails them, and big time. Because if this work, they will go work. And I know they will go work because you can speak to them, you can hear the sincerity that they want to go work, but there's no way out. Most of them is so deep into the drugs that it's almost like they can't get out there. Because
And some of them get paid to be
they
in
get
these
paid,
gangs.
yes.
All of them get
All
paid.
of them, they get paid.
It's become like a job opportunity for them.
Exactly. Now, if we can create jobs for them, not those jobs that the DA give 3 months, 2 months, 6 months. No, not that jobs. Decent jobs for us. Because there's a lot of skilled guys here. There's a lot of skilled guys that is on drugs here. If they can get a job, a proper job, and they get training also, our communities will be a better place to live in. Our communities will really, even if SAPs can be with hand in hand with these people, wow. Then I'll see our community like in back, the older days, I'll see our community back then.
Honestly speaking, there is a whole lot of challenges when it comes to service deliveries, when it comes to gangsterism, when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to gender-based violence, even drug abuse and human trafficking. So I've been a community worker for the past 15 years and engaging especially with the elderly people where I would do request on their behalf when it comes to SASA or Home Affairs or whatever their needs might be, because I always was with my laptop and so on. And during this time, I really see the need for more and more of us to come out and to do the assistance with the people in especially in Manenberg. For me, it was very hard to see how our people are struggling and government not seeing what we are going through here on the grounds. Government is failing us big time on all levels, provincial, local, provincial, and on a national level. Because we are on the grounds, we are the ones who put them there. And in the end, when we need their assistance, it is closed doors. They are nowhere to be found, or they make empty promises to the people. And that is why it is so difficult for the people today to stand up, because they lost control, they lost hope. There's absolutely nothing to fall back on. So I think that government made, there's a lot of lack, and government made a lot of disruption when it comes to the community, because there's absolutely no trust, and it is very difficult for us as food soldiers to try and get to get them to get some hope again, because we are now being targeted, saying that government failed us and you will do the same, you know? So, yeah.
You live in a city, in a province where the government here says it works and that it works for all. Do you believe the statement?
Not at all. The city, the government don't work for us at all. My dear, I can tell you, I don't sleep at night. Here's my phone. Whenever there is shooting that is happening, they would call. I must be the one to call on the police to bring them in. I must be the one to do 1, 2, and 3. The people on the ground is the ones, not the politicians who are up there, government and mayors and people who are up there assisting us. And they do have people in every community, but they don't even do one, they won't even come out to do one thing. You know what? When the person is dead already, then they will come. And the one thing they will ask is this a gangster or not? Whether it's a gangster or not, it is still a person. It is still a human being. And all of us needs to be treated fairly, but we are not being treated fairly because they will see them suffer and let them lay on that ground. It's up to us as the people to make that change. But if we're going to wait on government, we will never get anything right, my dear. Because I myself am putting myself on the line there for my neighbors and for my people around us. Because why? If I'm going to wait for government, I'm telling you, my dear, I don't know where we will end up at the end of the day because they don't care about us.
We've met Auntie Vanessa in the community of Rocklands here in Cape Town, who is going to tell us more about the water challenges that she's been experiencing as a pensioner, firstly, and also as someone who does community good, who runs a soup kitchen feeding scheme that she uses to assist the indigents that exist here in her community. Talk to us about the water challenges you've been experiencing.
It was last month. They just came here and they SMS my husband, and like 2 weeks before that, and they came here the morning, and I asked what say they just came to say we must came to switch off the water, and it's only 2,500 we had in arrears, and they switch off the water with no. All the people get they drip, but no, there was no just switch off, and we had to go pay the next week. So it was 2,500. So when we go pay, it was 2,700. Yesterday they came back, and what now? So I said, "Oh, you can come put it over again." No, we just come check up, and the bill came again, 2,100, and I mean we paid it, and 700 was to switch off and reconnect. So so I was saying, now what now? Now we must pay. We had to go pay again the same amount. So I mean we are pensioners and I'm struggling with the food already.
Talk to me about your food feeding program. What inspired you to start a program or a kitchen like this for your community?
Years back, like almost 25 years. I'm selling goods, and that is my way to put in back in the community. That's why I did that. So it's for 20 odd years now that I'm doing. I do get help here and there, but most of it, me and my partner Margaret must do it alone out of our pockets. Like today I forgot completely about the holiday. And yes, there's normally it's 10 minutes. That pot is 100 liter, 10 minutes last week was not even 10 minutes. It was finished. Now there's still not a lot of people came yesterday, but the people come. So we keep it late at night. The people ask, Auntie Vanessa, no food. So we must always be ready. And that is my heartbeat, to feed the community. So this is a struggle now that we have to go through the water. Then it's there's the water bill already again, the new one. And I mean, we're getting only 2,200, 100. That is one of our, this is my husband Arnold. That is his, mine or his pension. So where's the month sold?
Here's the proof of our of our bill for this month. As you can see, we've paid 2,700 last month. This is a new invoice where they charge us for disconnecting fee of 430 rand. And to reconnect it again, another 340 rand. It's 700 rand.
What do you make of the calculation of your consumption? How do they determine what amount you are owing?
They come here every month. Then they come to read the meter, and according to that they charge us. Now my question is, was that I don't worry. I don't mind about the water we use. We must pay that. We are prepared to pay that. But why must we pay for a disconnecting fee of 430 rand, and to reconnect it again, you have to pay another 340 rand. You see, they say they work for the poor, for the community, but it's all lies.
100, and this is the calculations they get for the end of the month. Now the new calculations come. How can people's water come for the new month? Over 1,000 rand. 60,000, 1,900. No, look there.
And you're saying these are pensioners?
As pensioners, these are pensioners. All these people. People get pink letters if they don't pay and they don't comply to this. They don't comply to anything but according to the city. They don't comply. Now they get pink letters, being threatened that the water gonna be cut.
Following what appears to be an alternative reality, revealing a state of hopelessness and despair, we speak to the Western Cape Provincial Government and Premier Alan Windey, who details to us some of the interventions that his government has put in place to bridge this inequality gap. It's quite tragic, for lack of a better term, to land or to plan a trip to this province, knowing you're going to see the famous landmarks, Table Mountain, you're going to the beautiful beaches, the tourist attractions. You land at Cape Town International Airport. As soon as you drive out of the airport, you're met with devastating scenes that just keep expanding and growing to no end. And you have to drive past that to get to your destination. What is the government saying in this province about that housing crisis? What do you think causes it? Why does it seem like an insurmountable challenge?
So it is almost insurmountable because it grows exponentially so much every single year. So, you know, we have a 600,000 backlog, and you build 45,000 units in the last 5 years, and you still at a 600,000 or 650,000 backlog. 150,000 people move here every single year.
Why do you think they all want to come to the Western Cape?
Well, they want to come here because at least there's going to be healthcare services or education services, but it puts more and more pressure on us. So now our job is to solve the housing problem, right? We're government. We'll solve the housing problem. But you know that we get the 5th biggest budget in South Africa with the 3rd most population or populous province in South Africa. Limpopo gets more money than the Western Cape. And we're supposed to deliver for all of these people coming from all of those provinces. And so it is a mission. But that's why, I mean, we won't just shy away from it. We've got to do things differently. I believe in innovation. We cannot deliver 600,000 RDP style houses to everybody. It's just not possible, and our budget will never allow it. I mean, you know, we've got restricted budgets, and but we're trying to innovate and come up with new plans. Wow, it is so difficult because you can't get in. You can't get in with police services, you can't get in with ambulance services, you can't get in with fire services. It is very difficult. And then so you can't get in with services. So then you end up with toilets on the periphery, and that has its own complexity, and who controls the key, and I mean, what kind of risks are there for women at night? And it is a hugely complex issue. And you know, having a portfolio of human settlements is a difficult portfolio, and the pressure is on, and we don't get the budget commensurate to it. So you will find that the budget gets corrected 3 years later. So the budget for that person's schooling is being paid to another province, but they're here and we must just find a space for them. That person's human settlement component is being paid somewhere else, and it only gets corrected later. So the pressure is on us. I mean, it's the same pressure on Gauteng as it is on the Western Cape, because people move to cities. It is a phenomenon around the world. When I took over as Premier, I said governance must now be a habit. You know, so you just do the right thing. That if someone comes with, you know, you can see this is a crooked deal, you deal with it. And so governance became the habit, and then you focus on delivery and services. And so that's really what's been the mantra in the government in the last 5 years. We must now start looking at the delivery, because, you know, a poor person can't eat a clean audit. Someone without a house, you can't have it. You know, what does a clean audit mean to them? And it's part of we've got the governance right, that's the habit, now it's about services. There's so many, whether it's the public participation process in the budget or whatever it is, but I'm going to highlight just two areas. The one is we constantly do customer satisfaction surveys, exactly what you would do in business as well. What are your customers saying about your product? So we do the same thing. We do surveys amongst all of our citizens saying, what are the issues that you face? And we give that to independent companies to do, and they feed back to us to say crime is the issue, jobs are the issue, education, and then it gives us representative of geographic spaces. So education might be more of an issue here, and crime is more of an issue there. So of course our constitutional mandate is education and health, and then social development. Those are the three areas that a province is mainly tasked with, because that's where your big budget goes. And then over and above that, it's about jobs. Now, I think everything I think about is about jobs, because, a real job makes such a difference from a housing point of view, from a crime point of view, from an education point of view, from all of those things. So the Constitution says that in a province, your role in the province is oversight over the police. You've got to produce a document every year called P&P, your policing needs and priorities document. The national minister is supposed to take that into heed when they put the national plan together. I don't think the national minister ever takes the P&P into account. I mean, we cannot carry on doing the same thing year after year and just have these numbers going up. So I said, let's put a safety plan together. How are we going to do that? Well, we've got partners internationally. We went to see some of the stuff that was happening internationally. In Glasgow, they've got a really interesting model of violence prevention, stopping children from ending up in gangs. Within your framework, you don't have the mandate. You can't put extra police on the ground. But local government can. They have bylaws that have bylaw inspectors, law enforcement officers. They have metro police. They have traffic officials. We have traffic officials. So we said, if we use all of those, how do we put a plan together? And so through the bylaw of law enforcement officers, it doesn't fall under police. It falls under the judiciary. So through the Minister of Justice, we got permission to say, yes, your officers can be trained to peace officer status. So they've got the same powers as a police officer, except after you arrest someone, you can't put them into the criminal justice system. You must take them to SAPS at a police station and enter them into the criminal justice system. But otherwise, they are trained up. We put 1,300 officers into the highest crime rate areas. If they analyze the four provinces with the highest murder rate per 100,000, and we were the highest murder per 100,000 5 years ago, was the Western Cape. It's not anymore. It's now moved to the Eastern Cape. But in every province, it got worse. Previous 5 years to this 5 years, Gauteng, worse. KZN, worse. Eastern Cape, worse. Western Cape, the only province in South Africa where the rate per 100,000 came down. I mean, we've got a long way to go still. So in certain hotspots, it's down by 47%. In other places, it's only down by 4%. And now we're reanalyzing it. Why? What else should we do? Should we put more officers in? Is it camera systems? And of course, how does the behavior change come in? So things are working. They're not perfect yet. We've got a long way to go. 27,000 arrests. The next thing is the convictions. I mean, but of course, that's the criminal justice system. But it's beyond what our normal mandate is, but we know if we make it safer, we attract more investment. And that's why, at the end of the day, doing these things, we can now, 78.9% of all jobs in South Africa in the last 5 years come from this one province. And I can understand why people feel hopeless. If you live in an area where the murder rate has plateaued or come down by 5% or 6%, you're still getting kids murdered every single day. So of course you're going to feel hopeless. I mean, just last week, a learner of 16 years old walks out of the school gate, standing at the school gate, and gets taken by a stray bullet. I go and walk in Kraaifontein. I go and walk with I think it was in Kraaifontein, with the neighborhood watch. I mean, we come up into an open square, and there's a cross and there's a place marked out. What happened here? An innocent young boy walking past, gang shooting, taken out by a stray bullet. That happens to 4,000 people every single year in our province. 4,000. That just drives me nuts. And there's no real plan from the police to say, we're going to make it our mission to bring down the murder rate.
While programs like that that you mentioned are in action or are being planned out and implemented, let's talk about what happens currently in those informal settlements. I understand that there's a process that they write to their municipality in order to get some level of recognition so that services can be delivered to them. And understand that the municipality will then either give them those toilets or build toilets for them, install water taps around for them to share, electricity supply to those informal settlements. Also refuse collection, I think, was the other one. But as you said, you're speaking of how more dense they get on top of being recognized by the municipality. Do you think municipalities in your province are fighting a losing battle to that end, because the number of people just keeps growing, the number of informal settlements just keeps growing, and the one we visited in town 2 had toilets right next to the taps provided, and one toilet being shared by 5 to 10 households, having dilapidated parks just 100 meters away from a rubbish dump. I mean, those conditions are inhumane, and no one really should be subjected to that kind of living. We even heard a tragic story from this one mother who says her daughter, because there's a park right there, her daughter was playing, so the contractor that is paid by the municipality to fetch the dirt hadn't come in like weeks. The daughter was playing nearby, picked up a random pull, ingested that and fell ill. So what do you think can be done in instances like that?
You know, is it a losing battle? It is very tough. You know, I've said 150,000 people, that's our population growth every year. I also want to say that during the pandemic, where you couldn't manage any movement of people, we had, just in the city of Cape Town, 1,026 pieces of land that was occupied. Some of those were government land that was already serviced for building and going to the next people on the list, and now it's illegally occupied. And now the problem is that to remove people off there, the municipality now has to take funds, create another space so you can move people off so that you can get the next people going for a building. So now you've got a budget that you get given every single year. Here's the budget for housing. And now you've got to say, but hang on a second, we can't use all of the budget for housing. We must use less of the budget for housing because we've now got to buy another piece of land so we can move people off that piece of land. So it is almost a bit of a losing battle. It's very, very tough. And more people coming, demanding more and more. Then in that ecosystem, it's also tough again. So if it's a piece of city land that's illegally occupied, that's got its own complexity, but that's their land. So that's much easier to put a pipe in and put water in and put services in and tell the other citizens that have been waiting for 20 years on this, don't worry, we're going to go and sort these guys out quickly. You know, that creates its own dynamic. You know, they say, but I've been waiting for 20 years and this person came here yesterday and they're getting services. But you've got to have humanity involved. So you've got to put water and electricity and whatever. And so on private land, that's a bit more difficult, but I think we are getting it around it. It's also a double-edged sword because the faster you deliver, the more people want to come in. And then the more pressure you put under, because of course someone who is in a backyard, been waiting for a very, very long time, they get angry and they say, but you can't deliver to anybody else. And you've got to actually take a holistic view and where are the biggest issues and the biggest pressures. And then now suddenly put schools in place as well and clinic facilities. It's being in government is not for sissies. You've got to do the best you can with what you've got, and the pressure is immense.